Alright, before we get started, just go ahead and make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I will say this again later on in this video. I don't know how long it's going to be. Anyways, accessibility is the first thing we're going to be looking at. Menu narration. You would want that on if you want random voiceovers to talk to you whenever you load into a lobby or in game as well. Personally, I have it off because I don't really care for that sort of thing. I like to be able to hear as much of the what's going on around me as possible. Things like footsteps and explosions, as well as vehicle engines and whatnot. Subtitles, you can have that on if you would like to read something at the very bottom of your screen whenever someone talks. I have it off because I don't really care for that sort of thing. And then, actually, I'll go back to that in a minute. Actually, should I do it right now? I don't know. This thing's so buggy. I hate the way they have this. But yeah, anyways, as you can tell, subtitles are off, so none of this other stuff really matters. But if you were to have it on, then this would the subtitle text size would increase the size of it, and then the subtitle outline would make it easier to see. And then the subtitles background opacity affects like the background black borders like a black square, kind of like as you see on the right side of your screen that goes behind the subtitles as if someone's talking. And then the subtitles text opacity affects like how easy it is to see like the actual letters themselves. Like, do you want them to be slightly transparent, or do you want them to be fully solid? And then we have the show mission instruction subtitles. Yeah, again, it's all off because I don't really care for reading that sort of thing. This will play whenever you're loading up into a lobby. And then squad subtitles, I assume this is if you're like the character models in the game talk to you if they're in your squad. Honestly, again, I have it on, I don't really care. Same thing with friendly subtitles, don't really care for that sort of thing if I hear it from someone outside my squad. And then then the next one is show speaker name and subtitles. It doesn't matter, really. Again, this would be if someone is trying to talk to you and you have the text or speech-to-text chat option on. Alright, okay, good. And then for master volume, you're going to want this turned all the way up. I have it slightly turned down because there's a bunch of random noises playing on in the background while I'm making this video or while I'm talking to people. I had to put this microphone close to my mouth because it can barely pick up my voice. But yeah, anyway, so you want to want that at 100 most of the time. But just for this video, it's getting turned down turned down enough to be able to hear me properly. And then we have the tinnitus sound effects volume and the tinnitus pitch. This is basically going to give like explosions like an extra. I don't know how to describe it, but like it adds some sound quality to explosives basically. Personally, I don't really care for that sort of thing because, again, like the thing that I care about most is being able to hear like enemy footsteps, being able to hear if gunfire, explosives going on around me, or vehicles, engines, or whatever, and being able to hear like some extra oomph behind explosives. It's not really doing me any favors. So yeah, it's turned completely down. And yeah, this is set to 2000, even though it really doesn't matter. Honestly, this would be 0 as well if that was an option, because you can't really hear anything with that turned to 0 anyways. But yeah, it'll just add some extra sound quality to explosives, which again, it doesn't matter to me. And then we have the color presets, custom of course, if it will let me change anything. Okay, never mind, I can't change that right now. It will go between these right here, but no, that's not what we want. Color profiles is what we want. Okay, so yeah, for my primary color, I have like a light blue color. This is going to affect like your HUD in general. And then for player color, I have mine set to pink. This is going to show what color you are in your squad, or like for any equipment that you put down on the battlefield. Get it, battlefield, whatever. Anyways, friendly color. This is going to show like the color for your entire team as a whole, besides your squad. And I have like a light green color for that. And then for squad color, we have just regular yellow, just to stand up from the rest of the team. And then enemy color, we have brightest red. Honestly, I like having my team show up as being green and the enemy showing up as being red. That's just my personal preference. Neutral colors, whitish gray. It's got like a slight gray tint to it. It really, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me what the neutral color is. It's just got to be a lot different from the other ones for it to stand out. And then accent color. The accent color is what was the accent color again? whatever. You would see it in the HUD or something like that. It does affect the HUD. Like, I think it might affect like also when you're in vehicles as well. If you're trying to see people or shoot people through the first-person point of view, this would affect the color of that, and affect whatever. What's the effect? Other than that, I don't know. I can't remember what accent color is exactly, but you would notice it if you play with the end game. I just have it set to yellow. I noticed it earlier too, by the way. I remember that. But yeah, I set it to yellow because I think I had it at pink at one point to match my player color, but it gets in the way of the HUD of, like, let's say mines or turrets or whatever that you place down. So yeah, accent color is just going to be slightly different from what you personally are placing down. It's going to be something slightly different. And then for the well, these three right here, I don't even know what these do, to be honest. Like, there's no soft armor in this game yet. There's no hard armor in this game yet. These are going to be, I think, probably when the Battle Royale comes out, because it's just not a thing in the beta right now. So these, I just left these alone. And then as for the warning color, yeah, this will basically show up like as you see, like a peachy color. This is like if you're like in a vehicle, and vehicle that's taking a lot of damage, it will let you know that yeah, it's about to get blown up, so you better start repairing or something. And yeah, I just left that as it is, which is like I said, just like a peachy reddish color. Alright, and then for the brightness, I have mine set to 60 because that's how I had it on Battlefield 2042. The brightness setting is going to be different for everybody, depending on the monitor that you have, or if you have a TV, then you probably don't even need the setting anyways. But being that I have a monitor, I have mine set to 60, which I don't get why they DICE didn't decide to put in like logos like they did in Battlefield 2042, where you could see where you can see where the brightness should be at. Like, you would have 3 sets of logos, and then you'd have one on the far left that's the darkest, and one on the far right that is the brightest. Like, I don't get why they didn't include that in the settings for this game, because then it'd be a lot easier to determine what brightness setting I really do need. But yeah, I just copied mine from 2042, which is 60, since I can't really tell much of anything. But of course, if I wanted to have an easier time seeing enemies in this game, which they can be kind of hard to see, then you could always turn that brightness up too. And then for the camera effects, I have everything set to off or low, or as low as I can possibly make it. The world motion blur, this is going to affect the blurriness of well, basically the world as a whole. But yeah, I don't want any blurriness in my game. I like it to be as clear as possible, so I have it set to 0. And then the weapon motion blur, if you're moving your character model around, your weapon will appear blurry whenever you're moving around. I have that set to 0 as well. I think world motion blur is whenever you're moving your character model around, your character soldier around. But yeah, anyways, soldier HUD motion. I don't really, again, don't care for that. It's basically going to mess with your HUD or make it appear like it's moving. So I don't know, whatever. I have it set to off. Camera shake amount is set all the way down to 20 because I don't like the screen shake. Honestly, it'll affect it'll affect your gameplay, especially when you're trying not to die. And then for chromatic aberration, I have this set to off because it's just going to make your game appear a lot more blurry than it needs to be. This is how it was in 2042 as well, which again, if they would have just included something, you'd be able to see what it does on the right side of your screen. But yeah, they didn't do that for some reason for this game. But yeah, it's off because if you had it on, it would make everything blurry. And then for the infantry crosshair projection, it says it enables crosshair projection to potentially lessen motion sickness that can be caused by certain camera motions. This keeps the crosshair focused on where the player is aiming. When disabled, the crosshair set can always align with the center of the screen. As you can tell, we always want that to be on off because we don't want our crosshairs to be going all over the place whenever explosions are going off and whatnot. Alright, and then for the controls. Wait, I think we can look at this later, or can we? I don't know, whatever. We'll look at it now. So, the control settings for this. Infantry sprint, I have mine set to toggle because I don't want to be holding my analog stick the entire time that I'm trying to sprint. I have my double tap forward sprint turned to off because I just want to be able to sprint every time I hold down my left analog stick. And then the crouch toggle sprint, like if you're in a crouch position and you try to sprint, it will, if you have it select to stand, your character model will be standing up, will stand up when you start to sprint. But if you have the set to crouch, then basically you're going to be sprinting while crouched, which is pretty cool. Never seen that in any of the Battlefield games up until this point. But I have mine set to stand because I just personally I like to be able to if I'm sprinting from the crouch position it's probably going to be because I'm trying to get out of danger, and you're not going to want to crouch and be sprint crouching even slowly or whatever. You're going to want to be getting out of there. So yeah, I have mine set to stand for that. And then for the crouch slide, I have mine to crouch hold. Basically, you just hold down the analog stick in order to crouch. That's how it was in 2042. That's the way that I like it. The other settings are you can always have crouch off, or you can have it to where you will crouch slide whether you are either tapping the analog stick or holding it down. But yeah, I don't want to just randomly slide every time I hold down the analog stick, every time I'm trying to sprint with the left analog stick. So yeah, we're not going to want to have it on all or to have it on crouch toggle. So yeah, just leave it on crouch hold. And then for the double tap crouch for sprint slide, choose whether to tap or give a single press of crouch to perform a slide. That's a weird setting, but yeah. No, I have. Oh yeah. I have it off. I have it off because again, I don't want my character model to slide as soon as I tap the left analog stick. I want to be able to hold it down because I don't want it to just randomly go off every time I press the sprint button. And then infantry weapon zoom, I want this on hold. Obviously, you can always put this on toggle as well, but hold is how it always has been in the previous Battlefield games and how I had liked it in 2042. Vehicle weapon zoom, I have this set to toggle, although it is kind of buggy in the beta for some reason right now. Hopefully they'll be able to fix that. But otherwise, you could always put this on hold, but then you gotta keep your LT or your left trigger held in, or whatever button you use the entire time that you're trying to aim in on someone, which I don't like doing that, especially when I'm trying to drive a drive a vehicle or drive a tank with a controller, which is a bit more difficult than with a keyboard and mouse, in my opinion. But yeah, just have that set to toggle so you can just switch in between, so you don't have to hold the LT or left trigger button every time you want to zoom in on somebody. And then the status scope, yeah, I have the set to hold. I might just leave this on toggle. I don't know, because I've always hated like having to press to hold in my left analog stick just to be able to steady my scope, to hold my breath or whatever. But yeah, if you press toggle, all you gotta do is just tap it once, and then it'll just do it until you either run out of breath or you tap it again. But I know hold is how it always has been, like previous in the older Battlefield games. I think I might want to have that on hold, or do I? Actually, nah, forget. I'll have it on. I'll just leave it on hold. Although I do see the advantage of having toggle on it. It makes it a bit easier. And then for interact and reload, obviously you're going to want to prioritize your reload, because if you have it select to, if you have it select to prioritize interact, or what's this other one? Tap interact hold. I was about to say that first one might actually be a bit better, because then you could just tap the X button in order to reload, and then you hold it to interact. But I don't honestly, it's a bit weird for me. I don't play claw or anything like that, so it'd be a bit kind of weird for me. But yeah, if you basically, if you want to be able to choose it between whether you want to reload or open a door whenever you're moving around, then yeah, you either just tap your button or you hold it in to be able to open a door. And then the second setting reverses that. Basically, if you want to reload, you got to hold the X button in, versus the interacting, which is just tapping a button, which for me is X. And then we have prioritize reload and prioritize interact. So basically, if you have to reload your weapon and you're at a door, it's going to either prioritize reloading the weapon over opening the door, or prioritizing open like a door versus reloading the weapon. Which, as you can tell earlier, I had to prioritize reload because most of the time I'm not going to. Whatever. I would prefer to be able to reload whenever I want to, versus like if I'm at a door, being stuck. Being stuck opening the door with like a weapon that hasn't even been reloaded yet, and then getting bodied by someone that's just waiting. But yeah, anyways, For a skip or vibe, I have mine set to hold. You can have this set to toggle, but yeah, I like to have it set on hold just so I know. You know for a fact that you want to bleed out and respawn, versus toggle, which you might accidentally press, which is just just tapping a button to skip your revive. But no, I like having mine set to hold. That's how it was in 2042. And then for request revive, this I do have set on toggle because I don't want to be holding. I think it's X again. The interact button, I don't want to be holding that the entire time that I'm requesting revive, so just tap it, and then yeah, then you'll slow down your bleed out time, and maybe possibly someone will come and revive you. And then for the mount breakout, this is if you were trying to mount on like on a head glitch or a wall corner or whatever. It's either set between instant, short, or long. Basically, whenever you try to get out of that, it's going to either take a short. Whatever, it's going to take either a second or it's going to take like 2 or 3 seconds. But I have mine set to instant because most time, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Because most time, even I don't really lean on things, to be honest, for the most part. But if I were, then I wouldn't want to be leaning on it. I wouldn't want for it to take. I wouldn't want there to be a delay, is what I'm trying to say. Whenever I'm trying to get off the head glitch or the wall corner or whatever, I would want it to be instantaneous because probably most time, if the only reason I'm doing that is to get out of danger. Okay, and then for the vehicle boost, I have this set to toggle. This is how it was in previous Battlefield games, but of course if you wanted to hold in, again, it's kind of like the sprint button in this game, but being able to steer with both the left analog stick and holding down the sprint button basically at the same time is a bit tricky on with the controller. So I just have this set to toggle so I can just tap it whenever I want it on and off. And then for the coma rows, choose whether the coma row should close when you release this button or when you use it again. I'm not exactly sure what... Oh, wait, never mind. The coma rows is basically whenever, I don't know how to describe it, but like if you hold down a certain button or buttons, it will pull up with this menu that has like request ammo, request revive, or, it'll have like these random soldiers messages like thank you for the ammo or whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's that sort of thing. This is what this is. I have this set to hold because I just don't want it to mysteriously turn on every time I press the, whatever button it is. Yeah. I have it set to hold so that I know for a fact that I have a very good reason for why I have why I'm pulling it up in the first place, which probably isn't going to happen unless I need ammo and really want someone to give me ammo. And then for the controller, I have my controller vibration set completely to off, and being that I don't want my controller vibrating whatsoever because I'm not in the I was about to say something that I probably shouldn't say. Whatever. I don't want my controller vibration to be on. Because yeah, I don't like I don't want things to feel or whatever. Feel? Is that even the correct word to describe it? Whatever. I don't want to feel my hands vibrating. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And then for vibration intensity, obviously if you had it on, you could turn this. You can make it stronger or weaker. It's honestly, it doesn't even matter what I put it on, but yeah, I think that's kind of redundant. I mean, you could technically just have the controller vibration on and then turn this all the way down, and then you probably wouldn't feel much of anything. But yeah, but no, I have mine set to 0 because again, I'm not interested in feeling any vibrations on my hands. And then for the vibration mix preset, yeah, this will change like the intensity of vibrations for different things that happen in the game. Really, it doesn't matter for me because, again, my vibration is completely off, so I'm not going to feel anything. But yeah, this will affect whether or not you certain things cause more or less vibration than others, I guess, while you're playing. And then for vibration mix, yeah, everything's set to off, basically, because my vibration is completely off. But yeah, if you were to have it on, then you could basically adjust how intense and how weak certain things are. But no, we don't do that. We're not interested in that. And then for chat, play income text as speech. I don't really care for what anyone has to say in games most of the time because most of the time people don't got nothing good to say. So we have play income text chat as speech set to off because I don't like AI voices, and convert incoming voice to text chat. We have that set to off because yeah, again, I don't really care what anyone says. If someone wants to say something very important, they can type it in the text team chat or whatever in the top right corner of the screen. And then menu tutorials, the tutorial section. I really, these don't really matter much to me because I basically, a lot of the things that I'm using in this game is the same as it was in 2042. But yeah, set this to on and off if you would like to see some tips or whatever, I guess, whenever you're trying to load it into a game. And then the in-game tutorials is going to affect things as you're playing, basically. Reset tutorials if you want to reset these two. I don't know, whatever. I ain't interested in clicking that. And then, yeah, well, now we get the hints, vehicle control hints, action prompts, peak hint, ping hints, volt hint, mount hints. Basically, this will let you know before you do anything if there's an option to do it. So, yeah, I have all this set to on so that I don't mysteriously do an action that I'm not prepared for. But yeah, this will basically give you like a white line outline or something like that to let you know before you're about to mount. This will let you know before you're about to jump or go over like an edge or something, whether or not you want to do it or not, you know. And then ping hints, I don't really get the ping system in this game. It seems like they've turned down the spotting, except for with your recon, then it's really good. And then pink hint, yeah, this will let you know before you mount up on a wall whether or not you're about to go around that wall whenever you're trying to play this game like it's Rainbow Six or Siege or something. I don't know. Action prompts, obviously, yeah, this will be like if you're trying to do any sort of thing like opening doors or get into a vehicle. Yeah, it'll show like an X for me. And then for the vehicle control hints, yeah, it basically just shows what you're doing like before, like if you need to reload like your main gun or need to switch between weapons, it'll switch between weapons on the tank or whatever, tank, helicopter, whatever. Yeah, I have this set on just to be able to see what it is that I'm doing, and note that I'm not lagging and my input's not working, because that does happen in this game. Next we have the gameplay section. First thing we're looking at is invert all vertical look. No, I'm good. I don't want my up to be down and my down to be up. Although this is what seems to be how it is in 2025 in the real world, you know. Everything is left and right, right and left, up and down and up, dog and cat, cat and dog, whatever. Anyways, I have mine set to completely off because, yeah, screw that. And then we have the vertical look settings. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's set to off. But if you were to have it on, then basically you could adjust every single little thing. But no, I want everything to basically whenever I move my right analog stick up and down, I want every single thing that in this game to move up when I move it up, and then to move down when I move down. This is especially important with jets and helicopters, because the way that in real world works is yeah, with the joystick that they use to pilot these sort of aircraft or whatever, pilot helicopters and jets in the real world. Yeah, if you press up on the joystick, it makes the aircraft go down. And if you hold back on it or move the joystick towards you, it's going to make the aircraft go up. But no, we don't like that here. We like our realism, but we don't like it that real, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, it's all set to off. And this is what I hate about the current thing that they do. So yeah, if I press the back button, it sends me all the way back to the last setting that I changed. Really annoying. So I don't know if I'm going to be cutting that every time that happens or not, because it's going to happen a lot if I continue to do something like this. So yeah, hold and toggle. But yeah, for the hold and toggle settings, for infantry sprint, it's basically a copy and paste of this is stupid. So yeah, it's basically a copy and paste of what we talked about earlier in the accessibility settings for part of the video. But yeah, just I'm not even going to bother explaining all this again. It's already been talked about. Just copy this, and see if you like it, and if you don't, then tweak it a little. Back button, all the way back to there again. Woo! Capture area outline. Yeah, that basically whenever you're on an objective, you're going to this is going to show the border area around the objective where you can actually capture it, Yeah, I have this set on because because obviously with some of these objectives in this game, it's not always going to be like a one square, or it's not always going to be like a simple shape. But no, it's going to have like 90-degree turns. It's going to be like a freaking messed up shape or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I like to see the entire area of the objective so that I know that whether or not I'm about to capture it or am in the objective or not. And then for the infantry aim sensitivity, I have mine set to 50. This is the same as it was in Battlefield 2042. This is the set, and they both seem to be the same in this game. So yeah, that's what I stick with. And then obviously you're going to skip this because we're not talking about mouse and keyboard in this video, other than to well, I was about to say shame, but I think I'm just going to stay in my lane. Anyways, double tap forward sprint. I think we've already talked about this. Yeah, we have this set off because I just want to be able to hold down my analog stick whenever I'm sprinting. This is already talked about earlier in the video. Vault over sprint. Enable vaulting over objectives when sprinting and pressing the vault button if obstacle is sufficiently small, and then when it's disabled, vaulting up or over is always automatically decided based on obstacle depth. Wait, what does that mean again? Oh no, is I can turn on off? Enable vaulting over objectives only when sprinting and pressing the vault button if obstacle is sufficiently small. What I think this one means is basically like if I'm sprinting at a low wall, it will automatically have me jump over it. And then when it's disabled, it's always going to be whatever. I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't even know about this one. Because most of the time, whenever I'm sprinting at a wall, it's because I intend to jump over it, which means I'm not going to be completely sprinting it. I'm going to stop like right there at it, then I want to jump over it. But I guess you would have this setting on if you want to sprint at like a low-lying wall and automatically vault over them, and then disable it if you don't want that to happen. But yeah, it really doesn't matter much to me. Enabling vaulting over objectives only when sprinting and pressing the vault button if obstacle is sufficiently small. I think I want to have this set to off just simply because, yeah, I don't want to be sprinting at a low-lying wall or be sprinting at anything in particular and then just randomly start to jump over it. That'd be kind of annoying. So yeah, we have this set to off. The sprint door, barge. This should be on, by the way. Basically, if you're sprinting out a door, it'll automatically open it up without you having to press the interact button or without. Well, what I was doing earlier was I was just meleeing doors just to get through them in advance. But yeah, if you don't want to just barge right on through a door automatically, then you have this set to off. Well, like I had it. But then if you do that, then you're always going to have to either hold the X, blow up a wall, or just use a melee button in order to open each individual door. But then you have it on if you just, like I said, want to sprint right on through it. I'm going to have this set on because most of the time I'm not going to be sprinting out a door unless I know for a fact that it's or would like to believe for a fact that it's completely safe on the other side and there are no enemies waiting for me to completely ruin my day. But yeah, just like I said, have the set on if you want to sprint right through doors. We've already done this, I believe. Double tap crouch for sprint slide. I think that's how it was in 2042 now that I think about it. Choose whether to tap or give a single press of crouch to perform a slide. I was about to say I was playing it a bit earlier, and it was kind of annoying whenever I would try to go to revive someone, and I would want to try to crouch down, and then it would cause my character to slide into them instead of just going prone and then slowly creeping up on them to revive them. But yeah, I think I wanted to have this on so that doesn't happen. So then I can just spam the left analog stick to in order to sprint, or analog stick, the right analog stick to sprint, or whatever button you use to crouch. You just press it twice in order to be able to slide, rather than just do it every single time you press that button just on a tap, you know. But yeah, we're gonna have this set to on, and then landing row, enable landing row when when landing while holding crouch or jump from a non-lethal height. This reduces fall damage but can be disorienting. Honestly, I don't really care for this sort of thing, but if you wanted to negate some fall damage before you fall, then obviously you're going to want to have this set to on so that you can just press the whatever button you use to crouch or to use the jump. You press that right before you hit the ground in order to do like some sort of roll or whatever to reduce fall damage or whatever. I said I don't care for it, but yet I have it on. Well, I mean, to be fair, really it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter because the only way that landing roll even works is if you even press a button right before you hit the ground, anyways. So yeah, if you're not used to like pressing a button before to take less fall damage, which obviously up to this point this has not been a thing, or at least not in 2042 it wasn't a thing. It might have been a thing in Battlefield 5. I can't remember. Yeah, you have this set on in order to negate some fall damage, but then your character does like a weird roll or something. And then we've already done this mount breakout. You want to dislodge yourself instantly rather than in a short time or a longer period of time. We've already done this one, interact to reload. Prioritize reload over interact all the time, especially on controller if you're using the X button like me. And then invert demolition charge for throwing detonator. I don't really use C5 that much. I don't even get what's the point of this? Invert button input for throwing and detonating demolition charge. I mean, to be fair, I think the way this thing works is that if you have it set to off, like if you're on a controller, you're just going to use your if you switch to the C4 explosive, you're just going to use the LT button or your left trigger to detonate, and then use the RT or the right trigger to or not, I got that wrong. You use the left trigger LT in order to throw a C4, and then you use the RT or right trigger button in order to detonate the explosive. But yeah, I have mine set to off because I like it the old-fashioned way, which is, like I said, left is for throwing, and then the right is for detonating the explosive. And then inventory visibility, I want this to always be on so that I know how much ammo I have and whatnot. Not just when not just when active, whatever. I mean, it will just what this does is it will just make it casually just disappear every time you're not shooting or reloading your weapon or throwing anything or whatever. And then that hide, obviously, this is if you want the hardcore server experience. I don't care for that much though. Honestly, when active might not be that bad, sort of a bad thing either, but I like to have it always on because that's how it always has been for me, and because if I'm running low on ammo, I want to be able to look down and be like, oh hey, probably shouldn't continue to use this weapon with only like 3 bullets left in the whole entire weapon, which is pretty easy in this game because you run out of ammo really quickly in Battlefield 6 compared to any other game I've played so far, unless you play support. Because support, if you play as support, then you get the max amount of ammo no matter what weapon you use, until they change it, of course. But yeah, anyways, vehicle aim sensitivity. We have this set to 50. It's basically the same thing as my infantry sensitivity. And then ignore this because this is for PC and mouse players. And then for aircraft control sensitivity, we have this set to 50, and for helicopter control sensitivity, we also have this set to 50. These are all exactly the same as my infantry sensitivity, so they should all move at the same speed, I think. And then we have a helicopter control assist. Enable helicopter to automatically hover when no input is applied. Basically, yeah, you do want this on because otherwise, if you have it set to off, and then every time you let go of your trigger, your helicopter, your jet's always just going to stop. It's just going to go down. It's going to go straight to the ground. So yeah, you want this set to on if you want to stay in the air, even if you're not using your controller at the moment. And then for vehicle aim relative controls, I have this set to off because that's the way that's always has been. But yeah, what it does is you enable or disable aim relative controls of vehicles with turrets. When on, this vehicle moves relative to where the camera is aiming, and then when off, the vehicle moves relative to where it's facing. I like to have this set to off so that basically I'll use my left analog stick to move the tank or whatever, to move whatever vehicle I'm using, to move it in regards to where the front and back of the vehicle is, as opposed to just where I'm looking at the moment, which can be a bit annoying if you get what I'm saying. It's a bit annoying if you have this set to on, because then you would have to move your left analog stick or move your vehicle based on where you're looking at versus where the vehicle is actually facing or turned towards, turned against, whatever. And then we have this set to off the decouple tank turn aiming from turning because I want to be able to always be looking in the same direction. I don't want this set to on because what's going to happen is that if you're moving your tank, it's going to just throw off your aim whenever you're trying to shoot at someone. So yeah, just have the set to off to have your aim set in the same exact spot no matter where you're moving your tank. That is if, like say for example, you're trying to shoot at a tank while you're moving your own tank. That's basically what this is for. You want this off so that you can accurately shoot other tanks or to shoot other things without messing up your aim while you're moving your own vehicle. And then decouple aiming from turning as a passenger. I have this set to on because set this on to 10th keep crosshair. Yeah, I have this set to on because I want to be able to always look in the same direction no matter where the driver is driving the vehicle at. Which is kind of strange because yeah, I have it a bit backwards on this, but yeah, I have it set to off for whenever I'm actually driving the vehicle, because you know obviously I'm very aware of where I'm moving a vehicle, while I'm aiming while I'm driving, versus if I'm in a gunner seat, I don't know what the other person is doing with what the other person who's driving the vehicle is doing unless I'm in a party with them. So yeah. You're going to want this on because you don't know when the vehicle is going to be moving, and you don't want your aim to be thrown completely off if the tank driver decides to move when you're trying to shoot someone. Vehicle boost, we've already looked at this, toggle versus hold. I'd rather have it on toggle. And then infantry aim assist, well, you already know how it is. We're playing against PC. We're playing against PC players. We're playing against keyboard and mouse players. We are playing against some of the best players in the world. And yeah, they're pretty sweaty. So yeah, we have infantry aim assist set all the way up to 100, and then we have our infantry aim assist slowdown set all the way to 100 as well. Because yeah, we like to use aimbot in our Battlefield games against PC players. But yeah. And then for infantry aim assist zoom snap, I have it set to 70 because if I have it turned all the way up, then you're probably going to be locking on to other people besides the person that you want to shoot at. So let's say, for example, if you come across two enemies, one is right there in front of you, one is in the background. You don't want the game to be locking you onto the person way behind the person that's about to kill you. That's right there in front of you trying to shoot you. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I have it set to 70 is because it's just sticky enough to be able to lock on to people that are right there in front of me that I'm intending to shoot at, and also not accidentally lock onto someone else that's not my intended target. Then, yeah, vehicle aim assist slowdown, and vehicle aim assist zoom snap is all the same as infantry. Yeah, you have it turned all the way up to be able to deal with these keyboard and mouse players, and then you have the vehicle aim assist zoom snap to. Honestly, I don't even get the point of that. Yeah, I don't even know about this one. Because this wasn't a thing in 2042. I don't get the point of vehicle aim assist zoom snap because it's not like aiming with as an infantry player. You're not just pressing a button and then just aiming right on someone. You're basically moving your HUD around to be able to look right at enemy vehicles and whatnot. But yeah, I just copied my infantry settings for the vehicle part of this. Really, although again, I don't really see the point of that. Whatever. Anyways, on to the next thing. Alright, so now we are on the actual controller settings. I didn't really change a lot of the things that we have here, although there was like maybe three or four like 3 things I might have changed. And then there was something I wanted to change, but it didn't really matter, but we'll get to that. But yeah, anyways, we're going to go to edit presets. You can either press the X button or press A, and then we're going to press A again. Yeah, for interact, it's whatever it is by default, which for me is X. I don't have to really change that. Enter an X vehicle, that's X for me by default. Full map, well, I got a different controller. I got an Xbox controller. It's the same as that. I don't even bother putting input for that, but yeah, just for me on Xbox controller, this is the button that I use to pull up the big map. To skip deploys, you just hold down the A button. For the coma rows or whatever, you just hold down the LB button in order to pull that up. For a grenade or calling gadget, the calling gadget or whatever, we hold down the RB button to pull that up, or to throw a grenade. I think I selected that on purpose, yeah, because I think that's blinked by default, because in 2042 I had RB set to my grenade throw button as well. So yeah, you want that on RB If you want, I should say if you want, but you know, this is like the best settings video, I think. Whatever. Toggle camera, RB. I don't really use this sort of thing, so I think I just left that as is. I don't know why some of these are blank and some of these have a button in them, but yeah. I didn't change everything, that's for sure. Insert and deploy, toggle inventory. Yes, all these are set to blank, but yeah. Basically, this is going to be the same thing as pressing A, and then this is going to be toggle inventory. I'm pretty sure this is like if you're in a vehicle, and then in that case it's just like Y or X or something like that, whatever. Anyways, all these are basically all the same, really. I didn't really change anything because, yeah, I'm not an abnormal person. I don't really care for making, well, I like using my analog sticks, let's just say. So I'm not going to be changing any of that. And then this is for if you're on PC, if you're on keyboard and mouse, don't even bother looking at this video. The flick settings don't matter. Jump and vault are the same because it's basically you just press A to jump over something. You hold down the left analog stick in order to be able to sprint, and then this is where things get a bit different. But you know, this isn't going to really matter much. But yeah, for crouch, press, or to prone hold or whatever, I have this set to B for now. Really, what I want this to be is I want this to actually be I really want this to just be this button right here. I want this to take the place of my melees and my whatever. I don't know how to describe it to y'all, but yeah, basically this is the same thing as like the tactical settings in Call of Duty. This is the same settings I use in 2042. The only problem is that currently, right now, even if you do, I don't know what it is about the crouch or the melee buttons in the beta right now, but yeah. You can change them all you want to. It's not going to change. It's not going to change them whatsoever. I found that out, so I had to. I'm just going along with the punches for now until they fix it. But yeah, you would want to be able to hold down your right analog stick in order to be able to crouch or to go prone. But for now, if you're playing the beta, that is, just stick with the B button. Just stick with the B button. But until they fix it, when they fix it, then we will go back to using the hold down right analog stick button. Then you're not even going to touch that. Parachute deploy. Obviously, press A if you're in the air. That's the same as it always has been. Don't have anything special for slide. And then all these are basically the same. Really, the only thing that's a bit different for me would be like with melee and melee takedown. It's set to R2, you know, hold down right analog stick. This is the default setting. But really, what I personally would want it to be is I personally want it to be the B button because I never melee anyways. It's not something I really want to do. But again, I gotta say this again. Even if you do change the input or change whichever button you press for melee or melee takedown, you're still going to be your character model is still going to melee even if you press the original button, which is this one right here. Like your character model is still going to hit it's still going to pull out a knife or use the melee button no matter what you change this button to. But if it, like I said, again, if it was up to me, I want this set to be. But for the beta, leave this on right analog stick. Hold down at right analog stick, whatever. Toggle right analog stick. Okay, then I don't think I changed that. Yeah. So yeah, we left that the same. It's just Y like it always has been. This is something that did change though. So yeah, with Gadget 1, Gadget 2, Weapon Inspect, and then Squad Progression, Class Gadget, or basically for me it's just Class Gadget 3 really. Yeah, I have this set in like an order, like from left to right. My left gadget's going to be right, it's going to be left D-pad. My Gadget 2, which is the one in the middle, is going to be my up D-pad. And then Squad Progression, Class Gadget, or Class Gadget 3, whatever. Gadget 3 basically is going to be my right D-pad. But if you're playing as an Assault player, this is going to be off a little bit. Like I know with Assault you do have two primaries, And in order to pull out the main primary, it's basically going to have the whatever. I can't really explain it unless y'all play the game with assault. But yeah, it's going to be a bit different for off, but for assault, it's going to be a bit different. But for engineer, support, and recon, yeah, basically from left to right, you want these D-pad settings for all your gadgets and whatnot. And then all this stuff is left the same. This is still the same. This is how it always has been. If you want to talk with fire rate or whatnot. Again, if you want to talk with fire rates, fire mode, whatever, that sort of thing. Why is this here twice? Toggle laser and or flashlight not zoomed. Oh yeah. So yeah, these two are fun because it's not going to select both these at the exact same time if you press D-pad. This is totally depending on whether or not you're ADS'd, if you are aim down sight or not. So yeah, this one only works if you're aiming down sights, and this one only works if you're holding your weapon from the hip. And then yeah, all these are basically like I said the same. Status scope and toggle scope. I have this set to hold down the left analog stick in order to hold my breath and steady my scope. And then set input button for toggle scope. I mean, yeah, this is if you're using like a sight that has two different magnifications, it'll switch between the two. But yeah, I have that set to L because it's not really going to get in the way of the sniper scope, sniping basically, because most sniper scopes only have one zoom level anyways. And then yeah, with deploy bipod and mount, I really would prefer this to be on B, but because it doesn't work in the beta for whatever reason, if you're playing the beta right now, just select this back to this. But once they fix it, go to B. And then it's going to take me all the way back because dice sucks sometimes. But yeah, now we get to the edit controller settings, controller scheme settings. Hopefully I didn't do that too fast. No, I don't want to reset everything. I just want to go to controllers. But yeah, we were just on edit presets, as you can tell from the bottom right hand corner of the screen, but now we are on edit settings. I didn't want to do that too fast. I think I did it too fast, so that's why I went back. Edit settings. For control schemes, controller settings. I think, did we already go over this stuff? I think we did. Let me see. Oh, wait, never mind. Now if I press B, it's going to take me all the way back because, yeah, dice sucks. Anyways, control settings. We're going to click on that. Infantry aim sensitivity. Obviously, we've already looked at that. We've already looked at infantry vertical look. Invert vertical look infantry. Whatever. We've already looked at that. Field of view. Now, the field of view is a bit different. For whatever reason in this game, they increased the number. Basically, what the actual field of view is, the number was increased by like 15, or at least that's what I can tell. So, on Battlefield 2042, I played with the FOV of 90, but since everything is up by like 15, or at least it seems like that way to me. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, 105 for me in this game is the same as 90 for me in Battlefield 2042. So yeah, basically whatever setting, whatever FOV you use in Battlefield 2042, if you're watching this and have played Battlefield 2042. Whatever FUV you use in Battlefield 2042, just increase that number by 15 in order to get the right one for this game. And then for uniform infantry aiming, enable the use of procedural aim rate when in zoom. The procedural aim rate approximates constituting movement regardless of current field of view or zoom. Assist while aiming with muscle memory. Basically, you would want this to be on. I think that's how it works. I think what happens is if you have this selected on, it will basically zoom back in, or it will zoom in. It will zoom in a lot closer to the center of the screen. And then if you have it set off, then the aiming is going to be relative to your actual FOV, your field of view. So yeah, I have this set off because I don't want to really I don't really want to be zooming in every time I aim in. And then because I have it set to off, its zoom sensing coefficient is just it's not even a thing for me. But I'll just leave it as is, anyways. Leave it as is at 133. Damn, couldn't get that out of my mouth. And then we've already looked at this right here. 100 for this, 100 for this, and 70 for that. I've already explained why. Why do they have it this a thing though? By the way, like why am I seeing multiple settings over and over and over again? That's just stupid. DICE, come on now. That's stupid. Just have everything in one place over the other. Like don't have it. Like it's just like the second or third time I've seen this. For the soldier aim input and curve, all I know is that I enjoyed Battlefield 4 back in the day. I played quite a bit of it, so yeah, I'm copying that. Same thing with soldier zoom aim input curve. I'm choosing whatever. I'm choosing the Battlefield game that I played a lot previously, which was Battlefield 4, and then stick input acceleration presets again. Yeah, just Battlefield 4 for me. But in this game, you do have the options between choosing standard, which is whatever it is by default. The old settings from Battlefield 2042 when the first game first came out, definitely no, not selecting that. If you enjoyed Battlefield 5 and played a lot of Battlefield 5, you want this. Obviously, I like Battlefield 4, and then if you like Battlefield 1, you select this. If you liked Battlefield 3, which Battlefield 3 was never really that great on controller for me, so definitely not choosing Battlefield 3. Bad Company 2 is definitely a bit better, easier on controller. And then Battlefield Bad Company, wow, we're really going back now, aren't we? And then linear, I don't even know what that does, but yeah. I like my Battlefield 4 settings more than the others, so I'm just copying everything from that game. All this will affect your aiming basically whenever you're trying to go about shooting people or whatever. Shooting people, obviously more than that, but yeah. Whenever you're moving your character model in the game or moving where you're looking at or aiming at, all this is going to affect that in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how to describe any of it to any of y'all, but it will feel a bit different depending on if you were to go to every single one of these, it would feel a bit different. Trust me. And then yeah, this is completely blocked out. I believe I can't remember what. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you change this, this will affect the. This will allow you to change aiming left and right acceleration. But yeah, I don't really care for that sort of thing. I don't want the same rates of which I look up and down to be at the same speed as of me looking left to right. So I don't really. That's why I like to run the Battlefield 4 settings, because when I move my analog stick up and down, it's going to be a bit slower than left to right. I think that's how it works. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that if you run Battlefield 4 settings. But if you didn't, then yeah, you can just select preferred vehicle aim for what? Select vehicle zoom it. Select preferred vehicle aim input curve while zoom for controller. Select a previous title for a similar experience. It will not be one-to-one as vehicle aiming has changed over titles. Oh wow. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that there ain't no point in changing this setting if you play with the right settings, or I should say, my settings, which is the Battlefield 4 settings. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else to say about this, but no, there's nothing really else coming to mind. It's just going to feel a bit different if you select anything else whenever you're moving your character around or aiming or whatever. And then we get to the movement, infantry sprints. We have this set to toggle. This is all the same as talked about previously. Just copy it. I'm not going to waste any more breath saying the same thing again. What about weapon zoom or infantry zoom? Has anything? Yeah, okay, so this is when we get to something. Get back to something a bit different. Infantry weapon zoom. I already talked about this one, but yeah, hold it as opposed to just clicking the LT or the left trigger button over and over again. Status scope, I like to hold it in whenever I'm trying to hold my breath instead of toggling it. We've already discussed this. Vertical aim ratio and vertical zoom ratio. The higher that you select this number, the basically, as you can tell in the right side of your screen, if you turn this all the way up to 100, whenever you move left to right, it's going to be at the same speed as when you move up and down. But if you lower this below 100, then basically the speed at which you move your analog stick up or down is going to be different from the speed at which you move your analog stick left and right. So actually, it would be the same case even if you were to move this number above 100 as well. But for me, I like it at 60 because I like to have my up and down sensitivity to be slightly slower than my sensitivity when I'm moving left to right. Wait, what? Lowers values, damages the vertical input for finer control. Okay, well I guess it's the complete opposite. I messed that up completely. Basically, when I'm moving, what you know, I'm right. What am I talking about? I'm right. Of course I'm right. Yeah. Basically, the lower this is underneath 100, the slower that your up and down speed is going to be compared to your left and right speed. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Vertical zoom ratio. If uniform soldier aiming is disabled, adjust the ratio of vertical aim to horizontal aim for the soldier when zoomed. I have this set to slightly slower than I have it set to 80 because I want my horizontal to be whatever. I want my horizontal to stay the same speed, but I want my vertical, my up and down speed to be slightly slower than that, like I just said for this. Infantry zoom aim sensitivity. This is basically the same thing, man. I mean, adjust the sensitivity of infantry weapon aim zoom. I don't know, I think that's a bit redundant. I know in 2042 this wasn't a thing. Like, infantry zoom aim sensitivity was not a thing. It was just these two right here. I'm not sure if there's really a point in it, personally. I think that's what it was by default too. I can't remember though. I don't want to mess with anything. But yeah, this is set to 70. I'm pretty sure this is what it is by default. And it's the same thing as with these other two. You know, the lower your number is below 100, it's going to decrease the speed of vertical looking, up and down looking, versus horizontal. And then if you increase the speed or increase the number above 100, then it's going to make your horizontal speed a bit faster, or it's going to make your horizontal speed a bit slower than your vertical speed, which is up and down. Whatever. I'm just saying the same thing 3 times in a row. Zoom transition sensitivity smoothing. Ooh, I like it smooth. So yeah, I have it set to on. I'm not exactly enabled to smooth sensitivity. Enable to smooth sensitivity transition when aiming down sight. The option only affects legacy soldier aiming users. Yeah, I'm a legacy user because I'm playing on Battlefield 4 settings. So yeah, you want this to be on if you're playing on some older aiming settings like me. And then this is the same thing as Battlefield 2042. All of these up to a certain point are basically left at 100. And then when you get to higher zoom levels, I want it to be a bit slower. Slower sensitivity. So yeah, for 6 times zooms, 8 times zooms, and 10 times zooms, basically if I'm sniping, I want it to be a bit slower in order to be able to accurately shoot people who are way off in the distance, who are definitely not going to be moving as fast as someone that's right there in my face, you know? We've already discussed this one. We've already discussed all of these right here. So yeah, just copy this if you haven't already. Was that everything for this? Okay, yeah, that was everything for controller settings. Couldn't tell because I keep getting taken all the way back to the very freaking beginning. Okay, so I was wrong. That wasn't everything. I haven't discussed whatever. Is there even really a point for me even doing this? Like doing this part? Because to be honest, I didn't change anything when it came to the vehicle, or did I? I don't remember if I did or not. Ground vehicle control mapping. I think I changed the gadgets. I think that's the only thing I did change, right? I didn't change much when it came to all the other settings because I don't really. There's not really much time to even use vehicles in the beta. Although I was driving a tank and I did like what I was feeling before. I know in Battlefield 2042 there's a lot more equipment or weapon gadgets than in this game, so that's why. That's why I haven't really changed anything when it comes to vehicle settings, because there's less stuff to choose from. There's a lot less stuff. There's less equipment to choose from. So yeah, it's just left and right for this. This is what it is by default, though. But yeah, I didn't change any of these settings. So yeah, all this stuff is what it is by default. So. Unless you've completely messed up somehow and erased everything, and don't know how to reset your buttons, just yeah, copy this, I guess. All the way back to the beginning. Let's go. But yeah, I'm not even going to bother going through all this. My ground vehicle settings, my transport vehicle settings, my aircraft vehicle settings, my helicopter vehicle settings. It says it's on modify, but yeah. Everything's the same, basically. All my inputs, everything that I select is the same. I didn't change anything for the vehicles, for the vehicle controls, vehicle control settings or whatever. Everything is what it is by default. And then we get to down here. UI control mapping. I can't remember if I changed any of these or not. All I know is that yeah, you should just copy every single one of these if you really want to. Either this might be what it is by default. I honestly don't even remember. I can't remember what things I did change, really. If I go back, it's going to take me all the way back to the very beginning, and I hate it. Okay. Controller tuning. Now we have the controller vibration again. It's all off. I already discussed it earlier. My controller left stick, I changed this the same as what it was in 2042, which is 12. And then these two are the same. And then the center dead zone, I changed this to 26 because, yeah, my character model will keep moving. It will keep subtly moving even when I'm not holding the analog stick. So yeah, basically I changed this number until it stopped moving, which for me is 26. It's not going to be the same for everyone who uses a controller because everyone's got a different stick drift. So yeah, for me though, you want to like I said, you want to change this number until your character model stops moving in game. Which is for me 26 on the right stick, and the left stick it's 12. And then for control triggers, I didn't change these whatsoever. This is what it is by default. Didn't see nothing wrong with what it is by default. And then this is for PC keyboard and mouse players, so obviously none of this right here matters. No, don't reset everything. Now let me see if I went back to, is that everything? Yeah, that is indeed everything for the controller settings. Woo. Okay, so obviously we're going to be skipping mouse and keyboard because this is not a PC settings video. So yeah, we're not wasting our time on mouse and keyboard. Not wasting our time at all. Graphics settings, on the other hand. I have my performance preset set to balanced. You have the option between choosing between balanced and performance. I don't want it to be on performance because I want my game to look beautiful. I don't want everything to be even, well, depends on what settings you have on, but yeah, I don't want things to be blurry, you know? I don't want things to be like all faded out and gunky and just weird, whatever. I don't know what I'm even on about, but yeah. Balanced, because I like my gameplay to look as good as possible. Brightness is going to be different for everyone. I already discussed it earlier. Sharpness, woo, this is a new setting. I have mine set all the way to the max because I like beautiful things and I want my game to look beautiful when I'm playing it. But of course, if you're on PC, this might be a problem for you. But it's not a problem for me on Xbox, that's for sure. Series X, to be precise. Field of view 105, woo, same as always. Vehicle third-person field of view. Why this wasn't there earlier, I don't know. But yeah, I have mine set all the way to the max, so I can see all around me. This is also extremely important, especially if you want to see if someone's trying to creep up on you with C4. You don't want to get blown up by someone, so yeah. Being able to see as much around you as possible in third person when you're in a vehicle is important. And then weapon field of view, this is between wide and narrow. I have mine set to wide because I want my weapon to appear smaller on my screen. I really wish DICE would have like a thing where you can see what each setting does. What each setting does in the settings menu, but you can't really see anything unless you're in game, and then you have to adjust it while you're playing the game, which is just stupid. In 2042 it wasn't like this, so yeah. You're going to want this to be on wide so that your weapon takes up as less room on the screen as possible. Otherwise, if you put on narrow, your weapon is going to appear bigger on the screen. We already discussed this earlier. We want these set to 0 because we like to be able to see things and do not want the game to look like garbage. You know? Interface and HUD. Obviously, we want our HUD to be on because this isn't the hardcore experience most of the time, unless you want it that way. If you want the hardcore experience, then by all means, turn it off. I already talked about this stuff, but yeah. Basically, you don't want your HUD to be moving around the screen or be moving with what's going on around you, such as explosions going off close to you, you know? Show vehicle seat, we want this to be on so I can see whenever, see where I'm at in the vehicle. Although it's not as important as it was in 2042, because in 2042, every single vehicle seat had a weapon. But in this game, it's literally just the driver and the gunner. Everyone else is just a passenger, but yeah. Vehicle seat's important if you would like to know if there's a spot open in the driver or the passenger or the gunner seats if you want to switch to that. Otherwise, yeah, if you have the set on, it's going to show all the other seats, even if it's just passengers being transported. And then show soldier overlays. Show or hide overlays for squad and friendly soldiers. Basically, it puts like a black border around your teammates or whatever. Not black border, whatever. It puts like a border around your teammates through walls, especially if they're in a vehicle. Then it does put like a black border around the infantry players. So it makes people easier to see, so they just stand out a little bit better. Same thing with, actually, yeah, the vehicle overlays one is the one that has like color around your vehicles through walls and whatnot, and then I think the show soldier overlays, it just puts like a black border around your teammates, so that's easier to see them when they're right there in front of you or whatever. To help provide distinction between your teammates and the enemies, especially if there's no logos to differentiate between the two. But yeah. Show outlines on friendly targeted soldiers. Yeah, basically, I mean, you can see right there in the right side of the screen. Show or hide outlines for targeted friendly soldiers. As an example, when a downed soldier is targeted with defibrillators. Basically, if you want to go revive someone and you spot them to be revived, yeah, it's going to put a border around them, which I have mine set to on because that's how it was in 2042. It's just what I'm used to. It's also, well, really, I mean, to be honest, really, this setting doesn't matter. But I guess if you really want to know if you indeed spotted your teammate to be revived without just, you know, hoping for the best, and then, yeah, have this set on so that you know for sure. And then this is the interesting one. The Sovi's filter. So SOVIS filter. Enable SOVIS enemy filter. You want this on. And the reason you want this on is so that enemies are easier to see. Because otherwise, if you have it set to off, they don't stand out. They kind of just blend in more with the surroundings. So, yeah. Have this on. Very important. Do I really want to do this, man? Do I really want to do this? Give me a second. We'll go back to advanced HUD settings. Icons and indicators of the icon intensity. This is what it is by default. And all this stuff just sort of changed with all the other controller settings. So we're not even going to bother clicking all this stuff right here. Chat visibility when active, yeah, basically whenever someone's talking in the chat box on the right side of your screen, whether it's enemy, teammates, whatever. Yeah, this will only make it pop up whenever there's actually someone talking versus never showing up at all or showing up all the time. But no, we just want it when it's active. But yeah, anyways, advanced HUD settings. Horizontal HUD padding. Adjust how far off the left and right side the HUD is positioned. Basically, the lower this number is, the more closer to the edge of your screen the HUD is. But the higher the number is, the closer that your HUD is to towards the center of your screen. I have mine set all the way up to 100 because I don't really know if this really matters or not, but like it's just a little bit less eye strain for me. I just had to look over just like maybe a smidgen less than otherwise I would have. Otherwise would be, whatever. But yeah, I had to set all the way up to 100 to have my HUD as close to the center of the screen as possible. Would be nice if I could watch never mind. We'll get to that. Show kills made by squad and nearby. Basically, this is the only one that's important to me. I want to know when enemies or when my squad mates are dying close by. Enemies, teammates, squads, whatever, are dying all close by. We also have the option to only have your own feed shown, nothing at all, everything in the game, just your squad. But yeah, we just have squad and nearby. In 2042, it gave you the option to also see just your team, or just see your team in general. But yeah, I guess, you know, they condensed it. It's basically the same thing as squad and nearby. Or, no, it's not the same as squad and nearby, but you get what I'm saying. Like every kill that's made by anyone on your team or anyone on the enemy team, it's going to show up in the feed if you have squad and nearby, and that's exactly what I want to see because I want to know if there's anyone close by to me, especially if I want to know if there is anyone close by to me that's an enemy, especially. Ugh. Kill feed icons. I have this set to on. Enable viewable icons and kill feed. I guess this is like if like someone gets like a headshot, it'll show something, or if they die to something else, I don't know, the different little icons or whatever. But yeah, if you would like to see if it's like a headshot or not, then you have it set to on. If not, then it's just, you know, kills this person, kill this person. That's all it's going to show if you have it set to off. But no, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me, but I have it set to on just because why not? Minimap size. Why you cannot increase the minimap beyond this is beyond me. That's what I was about to say a while ago. As nice as it is to be able to move my minimap and the rest of HUD further or closer to the center of the screen, it would be nice to actually increase the minimap size because it's still kind of small to me in this game, even at the highest number possible, which is 100 by default, I think. I have all these left. All these are what they are by default, by the way. I didn't change any of these. What, you know? I changed this stuff down here, but I didn't change these right here. Enable minimap rotation while player view. If disabled, rotation remains fixed. Yeah, you want this to always be on because whatever, it can be a bit disorienting or weird. Basically, your character model is the only one that's going to be moving on the minimap, and then the minimap's just going to stay still if you have this selected on off. But we don't want that, so we want this on so that your character model moves with the minimap. Yeah. And then when it comes to close minimap view distance, we have the set to 75. Basically, it's the same thing as what I had in 2042. I liked it to be able to see everything within 75 meters of me. At the medium distance, I like to see everything from 150 meters of me. And then for the far minimap, which is going to mainly affect your air vehicles, as you can tell, if it would just move, it's not moving, whatever. It's for air vehicles especially, but yeah, I have the set to 300. Basically, I just doubled it every single individual time, because I still would like to see what's going on relatively close to me, but I also would like to know what's going on just beyond my reach. I mean, this was really important, especially in 2042 with the suppressors with the way they were, because you know suppressors in that game, you still showed up on the minimap within 30 meters. But yeah, I have this the way that it is to be able to see people that are just slightly out of range, slightly out of reach. Otherwise, I think this is on 40 by default, but we want to see as much information as possible, and still. I mean, it's not like the minimap's getting any smaller or bigger or smaller, so I can't. It doesn't really matter to change this to anything else besides what I had it on 2042 by default. Then we have the dynamic minimap set to off. Enable minimap to follow direction the player is facing. Oh wait, never mind. That was the one I was talking about earlier. Whenever I was talking about this one right here. Wait, what? Enable minimap rotation with player view. Enable minimap to follow the direction that the player is facing. Why is this throwing me off a bit? Why is this even a thing? Enable minimap rotation with player view. And then we have if disabled, rotation remains fixed. Whatever, man. All I know is that I played with these settings earlier, and this is what I like to have. I have this one set to on and this one off, and I know what this one does. I have no idea what this one does, actually, now that I think about it. They both strike me as being basically the same thing, really, but I don't know. Yeah, you want, like, so you would just want this the dynamic minimap set off so that your player and the minimap moves together, as opposed to just your character model moving, but not your minimap. As you're turning, whatever, 360, whatever. Big map opacity is set to 85. I mean, I could make this a bit more transparent if I wanted to, but I don't really. It don't matter. It really don't matter. I just leave it at what it is by default. Simplified squad list, I have this set to off because I don't mind seeing all the little different things with my squad. Otherwise, it's just going to show, well, if you were to have this set to, wait, what? Actually, no, I do have it on off. Enable simplify squad list to high platform, yeah, whatever. Yeah, so yeah, have this on off because we don't need all that clutter. I was confused for a second there. But if you would like to see every little thing about your teammates, such as their platform IDs, how much health they are missing, and the armor bars. This is the only thing for the Battle Royale that we're releasing, whatever. Anyways, yeah. You want this on if you want to see every little thing about your teammates and your squad, but me, I don't really care. I just want to know where my squad is, or who is in my squad, and whether or not they're about to die, because then I know if I'm about to push up and die, and then my teammate doesn't have my back because he's almost dead too. So yeah. Have this to off to only show the teammates' names and their health bar. Infantry compass, I have this set to off. I don't really care for the compass. It doesn't really do anything for me in this game. Show hide compass, show hide compass. I don't, wait. Show compass multiplayer, show compass other. I guess this is going to be for the Battle Royale or maybe the campaign when they do release it. But for multiplayer, having a compass really doesn't matter. Don't ask me why I'm changing this. I don't know. I'm just going to make it the same thing as my big minimap for no particular reason. Let's see how important that is when the Battle Royale comes out. Vehicle HUD. Yeah, I have everything set to yellow. If you want a different color, you can change the color to something else, but... No! No! I don't remember where I was! Where was I? Oh, I was there. Yeah, I have all this set to yellow. And then hence, we already talked about these earlier, I guess. I think we did, I don't know, whatever. It's set to on because I would like to know if something is about to happen before I press something and then accidentally do something that I didn't mean to do, which is annoying. If you know, is all I'm trying to say. And then when it comes to the vehicle control hint size, you have the option to choose between small and medium. There is no large for some reason. But yeah, I have it set to medium because medium's not too big anyways, so yeah, that's fine. It's fun to be able to see every little thing that's going on. When it comes to vehicle interaction, that is. Oh, graphics. Alright. HUD icons. I don't remember if I changed any of these or not. I don't think I did. I know in 2042 I made the teammates a bit more transparent because enemies are far more important to see. I think I left all this stuff on what it is by default, but I think the enemies is what I changed. Enemy icons. No, I didn't. Well, in that case, honestly, I didn't even really notice this earlier. Enemy icon scale. Basically, if you want your enemies to appear a bit bigger on the minimap, then you slide this, but honestly, it's just fun in this game, as far as I can tell. Especially since, again, you can't really increase the minimap size that much anyways. It mattered in 2042, but for now, yeah, I just leave it what it is by default because it's... enemies are relatively easy to see on the minimap. Yeah, just like so, leave all of these what they are by default. Ah, yes. Crosshair indicators. Crosshair opacity is set to 100. That's basically like your hipfire lines or whatever. I like to be able to see them, so yeah. It's set to 100 so I can see them, and then the intensity, it doesn't matter. I left that what it is by default. And then I can't remember if I changed these or not, but yeah, this is white. I like having the crosshair thickness set to default because I don't need it to be that thick. This isn't like a woman, so female, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, infantry crosshair projection. Yeah, you want to stay in the center of the screen, and this is... You want this to, you want your crosshairs to remain in the center of the screen, and this is like the third time that I've seen this setting. Hit indicator. We have this set to 100 to be able to see it better. The intensity is only 60. It's what it is by default. Hit color white. Headshot color. I thought I changed this earlier. Well then, I'm gonna go and put this on bright red. Everything else really doesn't matter though, to me. It didn't matter to me earlier. This is like going to remain a peachy color. This doesn't matter until the Battle Royale comes out. This doesn't matter until the Battle Royale comes out. I have this set on though because, yeah, because, well. I'm going to leave this on so that I know when my armor's broke, I think. Whatever. Damage numbers enabled. I have this set to on. Damage number opacity. 100. Ooh. Damage number size. Small, medium, or large, right? Yep. I didn't see nothing wrong with small earlier, so I'm going to leave that as is. And, yeah, like I would like to really adjust this, but again, there's I have no way of telling what I'm doing, honestly, because there's nothing on the right side of the screen like it is in 2042. All I know is when I was playing this game earlier, I didn't see nothing wrong with a lot of the things by default. But yeah, this should affect how close the numbers are to how close the numbers are to the center of the screen. This is going to affect how close they are to. Well, I mean, both these affect how close they are to the center of the screen, but obviously the higher this number, the closer it's going to get to, like, to where you're aiming at, or to the right side of where you're aiming at, and then this is going to affect, the higher you go, the higher above where you're aiming it's going to be, and then the lower you go, the lower it is going to be to where you are aiming at. But at 50, it's basically right there in the center, I think. I think that's how it was earlier. All I know is I have no way of really realistically testing this out unless I go into an actual game and then sit AFK while my teammates get mad at me and shoot my body, because it happened earlier while I was doing everything else. But yeah, DICE has got to do something about this, because I like being able to see what each setting does what each setting does in the game, like how they had it in 2042. But yeah, infantry damage color, we have this a darkish red. Vehicle damage color, we have this white. I think that's what these were by default. Didn't see nothing wrong with them, so I left them. And then chat settings. I think we've already looked at this. Yes, we sure did. Everything is what it is by default. Except maybe that, I don't even remember. Yeah, I basically only want this on whenever people are actually talking, not when they're not. And then I like this on so I can see everyone that's talking, whether enemies or teammates. And then the chat channel indicators, I like to know if I'm in team chat, all chat. There's another chat, squad chat, whatever. Again, I left all of these on by default because I can't really do anything with this, because there's no way for me to actually tell what I'm doing without being in an actual game, AFK while my teammates shoot my body, you know? Yeah, these are left what they are by default. No, go away, you. I think that's all the graphics settings, by the way. Like I said, I really hope DICE will make it to where you can actually see what each setting does to your game on, like, the right side of your screen, like they did in Battlefield 2042. But for now, yeah, basically I'm just leaving everything at what it is by default, and I'm not really. It's not like I've found anything that's made me think to myself I really gotta change some of this HUD or whatever. But yeah, until I get a better way of being able to see the settings or adjust the settings, and I'm just leaving it what it is by default. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully DICE will do what they did in Battlefield 2042 and add something on the screen to be able to see what each setting does. All right, now we're on the audio settings. I hope I didn't start too early. Whatever. Anyways. Audio settings, sound system. For me, I want on headphones because I am wearing headphones. And then when it comes to audio mix, it says default mix for me, but really, I want it on War Tapes or War Tapes V8L because everything is a bit louder. It's easier to hear people's footsteps and to hear other important things like gunfire, whether enemy vehicles are closing in on you, that sort of thing. But yeah, you want this on either War Tapes VAL or War Tapes. And yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is between War Tapes and War Tapes VAL, honestly. Or it's not something I've really noticed. All I know is I like it loud, so yeah, I have it loud. But for the sake of this video, because all these background noises are very annoying, yeah, default mix. Actually, I second that. No, we're leaving it on that, and then we're turning our master volume all the way up so that I can hear every little thing. As you can tell, it's very, very loud. What I normally would be using is 100 master volume, but because it's so very, very loud, I'm going to turn this all the way down. Yeah. There we go. Going to turn it down just enough to be able to speak like a normal person. Not some old World War II veteran that has no ear canals left or whatever. I don't know. Some veteran out there without any eardrums left. Music volume, we have this set all the way down to 0 because I don't want to hear that ghetto music. Sound effects volume, I have this set all the way to 100 so that I can hear things like footsteps and gunfire and whatever. I've said this before, to hear things. Very important things. The commander voice volume. Basically, whenever we get access to the commander, the commander setting, whatever. They're bringing back commander mode from Battlefield 4 or something like that. This is what that is going to affect, and it's going to affect how loud the voice is. VO. What does VO even mean? I don't even know. Whatever. The voice. The commander voice volume. We have this set to slightly lower than sound effects volume because the sound effects are what takes priority over everything else. And then we have the UI sound effects volume. Basically, whenever you're switching between certain things, it makes like a ding, 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 ding sounds. Yeah, this is set to 70. Although, I mean, I'm not sure it's really that important, to be honest. I could probably turn all the way down to 0, and it probably still wouldn't really matter to me, but yeah, I mean, I've been playing like this. I've been playing with it like this, and it's not been an issue, so yeah. 70 for both of these. And then for hit indicator, we want this to be on. I've seen this already in the video. Or whatever. This video, my video, whatever. You want this hit, you want to hit, and yeah, fuck. See, now I'm cursing. I can't even get the voice out of my mouth because this is taking so long. Hit indicator, on. I would like to know when I am hitting people. I would like to hear the sound of their screaming voices and the sound of the X marks a spot on their bodies, the hit marks, you know what I'm saying? Voice chat. On? I don't remember having this thing on. Well, I mean, to be fair, this really doesn't matter because I know on my current account I have the whatever, on my Xbox account, I have a setting that makes it to where I can't hear any voice chat anyways, because people are ridiculous and do say things that would otherwise get someone like me in trouble. Or at least it would just make my life more inconvenient, because then I have to go back and I have to take the voice out, the bad word out, and then, or bleep it out, or, you know, silence it out, or whatever, you get what I'm saying. Enable voice chat. If you would like to hear other people speak to you, whisper in your ear nice and wonderful things, such as you are a you know what, then yeah, have it set to on. But for me, well, I mean, really, it doesn't even matter what I do. I can have it on off and on, and it's still going to be as if it's on off for me. But if you would like to hear people, then yeah, just I have it set to flat so that it's the same volume no matter where they are at, because otherwise if you have it in directional, it's going to sound like there's talking in your left ear or your right ear, like what's that one dude in the Ariana Grande music video from years ago, whatever, Wiz Khalifa, I don't know, Ludacris, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, if you want someone speaking kind of thoughts into your ear, directional. In world, voice chat, reverb, distant, whatever. If people are far, depending on how far people are from you, it's going to affect how loud they are. Auto. The game mode dictates voice chat position. Don't know what that means. I just all know is that I would want this to be on flat because I would want it to be the same volume no matter where they are at, no matter what they're saying. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, yo? Voice chat volume. Yeah, if you would like to hear people, yeah, you want this thing turned up. Especially if you want to hear all the nice and kind, wonderful things that these young doctors and engineers have to say to you. But yeah, being that, I don't want to hear nobody, so yeah, I have mine set to 0. But if you guys would like to hear some people, then turn it up. Honestly, being able to hear my squad is not as important as hearing what's going on in the game. Voice chat ducking. See how much the overall game audio should be reduced when someone speaks. Honestly, I feel like this is more important than that. But yeah, basically, if you put this number at 50, it's going to have the game chat volume at the same volume as the voice chats. But if you have it up to 100, wait. Yeah, if you have it up to 100, every time someone speaks in your squad or speaks to you, whatever, on your team, whatever, in your squad, honestly, really, that's the most important thing. In your squad, yeah, it's going to completely silence your game, and yeah, you don't want that unless you really want to hear all the sweet and wonderful things your squad has to say to you, which is not really good most of the time anyways. Not that it matters because mine's set to 0, so yeah, I don't even bother changing this at all. It could be whatever it wants it to be. I don't care. Microphone mode. I have mine set to off because, yeah, I don't want anyone to hear all the sweet and wonderful things I have to say. At least not while I'm playing video games because, yeah. Anyways, enable VoIP stats. Enable or disable the VoIP stats widget used to troubleshoot VoIP issues. I have it set to off because I don't really care. Anyways, accessibility. Didn't we already look at this? Whatever. Stereo balance. 0. I have it set to perfect balance on both my left and right ears. But if you want to hear more volume in one ear over the other, then yeah, adjust this. You got your left ear, and then you got your right ear. But in reality, I just want to set to 0. Just like I want the tinnitus sound effects volume set to 0 as well, because I don't really care for all that immersion. Then I don't have tinnitus, so yeah, yeah. Turn this all the way down to 0. I already discussed it earlier, but you want to turn down all the way to 0 so that you don't hear a bunch of little, so you don't hear a little something extra with that sound, with the explosion volumes. This is especially important if you're playing on War Tapes audio, because everything's going to be freaking loud. It's going to be really loud. Wait, where was I even at? Yeah, just like I said, yeah. Keep this on 0 so you don't have to worry about explosions being too loud and weird. And then, yeah, this really doesn't matter, although I have it on the lowest possible pitch that I can make it. Subtitles, off. Subtitle settings. Doesn't matter. It's off. Enable radio music, absolutely. There ain't nothing more I like listening to than da 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 whenever I'm in a vehicle, tank or whatever, helicopter or whatever. And then I can't wait for Christmas, because then they're going to be playing all the Christmas music in the radios in game as well. It's going to be so neat and cool and nifty. The only reason I have it on is because it's not following me everywhere I go. But if I heard the music all the time, no matter where I went, then yeah, I would want this set to 0. But this is just, you know, this is only ever going to be a thing that's on temporarily, really, because you're only going to hear this if you're near a radio in game, which most of the time you're not going to be. Inward radio volume, I have set to 100 because why not? Driver radio volume, I have to set to 100 because why not? Passenger radio volume, I have set to 100 because why not? Again, none of this matters because the volume, the in-game music volume is not really being played or utilized that much anyways, at least not from what I can tell. And now we finally get to system settings. Crossplay. You want this on because good luck finding any lobbies if you're not playing with everybody else in the world or in your region, whatever. Especially you Australian crowd. You ain't getting away without this being on. Show player created content. Unless you live in Europe, then this is you can definitely get away with having this off. But not me. Anyways, show player created content because yes, why not? Once they release Portal and then we're able to see all the Forge modes and whatnot, kind of like with Halo, then yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see all that, especially when we're playing well, I can't even think of what the thing's called, but yeah, basically whenever you're running up a inverted road and then you have to avoid falling objects, that thing. It's going to be kind of crazy when they release Portal. So yeah, I want this on so I can see all that. And then with creator mode, if you want to have streamer mode enabled, when you have it enabled, the ideas of other players on the server appear differently to me, or to you, whatever. This option can only be set outside of gameplay. Well, no. Anyways. Yeah, I don't really care for that sort of thing, so... Because I'm not a streamer, I'm just some guy uploading videos to the internet. I'm not really worthy of this. So yeah. Streamer mode set to off, because I don't live stream. Anonymous mode, when you set to on, your gamertag will appear different to all other players on the server, so players will not be able to see your actual gamertag in Battlefield. This is kind of cool if you want to avoid getting stream sniped, right? But since I'm not streaming, it doesn't matter. So that's why I have it on off. Enable radio music, we've already discussed this literally less than like a minute ago. At least it feels that way. It's on, just because I don't really care. I barely hear it most of the time anyways, because it's not like the radio is always in my ear. Minimap. Let's see it. We've already discussed all of this. Why? Why am I seeing this again? Why can you not get your settings right, guys? Why? Why? This makes no sense. Why am I wasting my time doing this? Why? Because I like money. I like getting ad revenue. Anyways, network. I have all this set off because yeah, I'm not interested in giving any information to EA. At least not if I can help it. Not voluntarily, anyways. And then when it comes to... What was that thing? Oops. Oh, would you look at that. Look at that. Well, nah, I have it set to off. Enable or disable network widgets on top at all times. Yeah, I don't want this to be on all the time, so yeah. Have it set to off. What was that setting called again? That's what I wanted to see. Network graph. Ooh. Anyways. Yeah, I have it set up so that it only pops up whenever there are actual issues. This is what it is by default. The background of PC is what it is by default, which is 80. And then again, well, I mean, it would be nice to be able to see what it actually does in the actual settings menu, but really, you have to go into a game to actually be able to adjust this. And not only that, but in this case, you got to be lagging to see what you're doing here. But from what I've seen so far while playing, it's fine what it is by default. And then show network performance bar, I have it set to hide. Show network performance graph set to hide. Show damage log set to off, and then show event graph set to off. I know in the previous setting video I did have this set to what was it, on problems, but it kind of got a bit annoying after a while because it does take up quite a bit of room on your screen. Basically, I'm not too concerned about the graph or the bar, whatever the I'm not interested in seeing every little thing, every little lag spike and whatnot that's going on. I just want to see when I am lagging, and in this case, it's good enough with the network widgets being on, at least when there's issues. As you can tell at the top left corner of your screen, that's the only thing I care about are those two things. But yeah, I think that's all it's going to do for this part of the video. That's all the system settings, and then extras. There's really nothing else there. Legal. Ooh, help. Ooh, legal. Ooh, help. Why is it going back and forth? Why is this even here for if this is pointless? This is all so pointless. Anyways, yeah, that's all I was going to do for this part of the video. Ah, get off my... Ugh, I just got attacked by a damn bug. Get off my leg. Anyways, that's all I was going to do for this video. Again, if you made it this far in this video, get off my leg. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, freaking southern insects over here, southern United States insects, like the button, hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've been talking for so long. By the time this video, I'm definitely going to be reaching 4,000 subscribers. I'm only like 2 or 3 subs off 4,000 subscribers, so yeah. Continue to I'm like Mr. Biden over here. I'm just like, I can't get nothing out of my mouth. I'm in on stage dementia or whatever. Yeah, like and subscribe. That's all I have to say, guys. Help me reach however many subscribers I can possibly get into Affinity. Anyways, that's all it's going to do for this video now. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking because it's been like 3 hours. I've been talking for the last 3 hours on these settings. Oh boy.